I have traveled to many amazing places in this world. It's not a boast, I'm setting something up here. I have been very lucky. And I have seen the great works of art, David and Perseus in Florence, the paintings of Da Vinci in the Louvre in Paris, St. Peter's Basilica. But of all the places I've ever seen and felt in my life, nothing comes close to the Cathedral of Notre. Built between 1163 and 1260, it is literally older than the Aztec Empire. And I'd be honored to tell you of the time I visited this incredible place. A bit over 5 years ago, I was getting ready to walk the Camino de Santiago in Spain. It's an ancient pilgrimage from the border of France all the way across Spain to Portugal. As it begins in France, I had landed in Paris. And after doing all the typical tourist things, I found myself on a random cloudy Thursday afternoon, standing outside the colossal and otherworldly presence of Notre Dame. As an American, it's very difficult to put something like this into context. There's simply nothing like it in the New World. And unless you've experienced Europe, you have no real reference for the impossible scale of a true cathedral. On this day, there were very few people around and almost no tourists, so it felt in a way as if this moment had come to pass just for me. Now, the entrance of Notre Dame is extremely intricate and geometric, as if what's held inside holds some mystery beyond language. And as you approach the ancient doors, there's this sense that something is here. It's very hard to describe. But when you walk inside, something does happen. No one is ready to enter Notre Dame. It's the scale of the interior that cracks the mind. It's impossible. As if this space is not meant for man, but something more, something older. There's a vastness within, far too vast to be inside a structure or comprehended by a human mind. And then you see the colors, the deep blues and dreamlike purples of the stained glass, rose and flame and primeval gray stones, massive pillars shooting up to impossible heights and dimensions, a profound silence, cool and serene, dark and beautiful. This was another world, an ancient and sacred portal. And somehow, without even realizing it, I had literally fallen to my knees and started crying. Really, it made no sense. It was just happening. But it was probably the closest to religious ecstasy I've ever been in my life. I could feel the terrifying, sacred, awe-filled mystery of everything, as if this really were the house of God, beyond reason. Here in this place was the source energy of our world, of our civilization, of our drive to better ourselves and strive for heaven and the stars. All here, somehow, in this impossible space. I'll never forget it. So maybe you can imagine my horror and dismay when I saw it burning on the news only a few months later. My father had just died, and it seemed as if all the good things in the world were ending. Hope for the future was fading. We were no longer striving for heaven or the stars. We were now tearing ourselves down with progressive political movements and cultural self-hatred. Our civilization was receding and diminishing. And every day we watched it bleed more and more for years. But then last week, on the news, I saw that beautiful symbol of all we strive for as a people be reborn. After 5 years of extensive repairs and reinforcements, France finally reopened Notre Dame. And in the midst of that profound and moving ceremony, I saw the great men of our time meeting and speaking together. Presidents, captains of industry, the luminaries of our age gathered in that sacred place to honor the return of what had been lost. And I thought of that light, that flame that we call the West. From Greece to Rome to Europe to Britain and finally to America, and its culmination in Philadelphia at the signing of the Declaration of Independence. All of it right now in our own time alight again in this ceremony, in the very place where I had felt God and the sacred drive of our people. And then I thought of Gandalf in Middle-earth when the beacons of Gondor were finally lit, and he watched them spark and flame and whispered, "Hope is rekindled." That tricksy old Maiar said it true. Hope is rekindled. Or in more contemporary parlance, we're fucking back, baby. To the stars.